When I left teaching and I took that year sabbatical, I'm just going to hop into music and see what happens. 1 year became 15 years.
From teaching in the classroom to nearly 2 decades as a musician, to pioneering live streaming during Singapore's lockdown, to becoming one of Singapore's most familiar voices on Class 95, and now as a business owner, Rai Kannu's career is a masterclass in reinvention, and today we dive into how he's navigated every transformation.
I never felt that teaching was not my calling. The reason why I left teaching initially was I felt like I didn't have enough life experience to be able to teach. And I think the same thing as a musician, right? You got to work, you got to be interested in what you do,
But you got to put in the training, right? And,
of course. The main challenge really is keeping the interest, keeping the flame alive. That's something that, especially as a creative person, you always stumble at some point. I'm in the top English radio station in Singapore. I had some bouts of imposter syndrome at the start.
What I've learned to do is when I'm interviewing very senior people, if I ask them a very difficult question and I can tell they're processing it, I'll give an example.
One of the lessons that I learned in life is whatever it is that I'm doing, when I enjoy it, I really give my best. No! Woman, no cry.
Hey guys, today we had the absolute pleasure and privilege to sit down with a dear friend of mine, Rai Kannu. Rai is an entrepreneur, owner of the Flying Squirrel, one half of the singing act Jack and Ray, and for a lot of you who might know him now as a radio DJ with 95 FM. It's a great journey. We look back at his time as a school teacher teaching PE, a former 400-meter runner, and a lover of whiskey. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat as much as I did. Cheers.
Great stuff. How are you?
I am good, man. How are you?
Looking good, bro.
Thanks for getting me on the show, man.
Listen, thanks for coming. Now, most people are going to know who you are in Singapore, but for the few that don't, can you just give us a quick intro as to who you are?
Okay, I'm Ray. I'm a musician, or at least I've been a musician for many years with a band called Jack and Ray. And also, right now, I'm a radio DJ with Class 95 FM.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what a lot of people don't know about you is that you actually used to be a school teacher.
Yes, you are absolutely right. You've done your homework.
I've done my homework. roll back the years. Tell us like what your journey was like, you know, coming out of NS. How did you go in that direction?
That was interesting. So actually coming out of my A-levels when I decided that I would like to be a school teacher.
That early?
That early.
What A-levels did you do?
A-levels, physics, econs and maths.
Really? So you knew you didn't want to do that anymore?
I don't know, man. It was just like towards the end of my A-level years especially. And I kind of realized that maybe the people actually that formed the things that I like were the ones that kind of shaped me to becoming a teacher. So I would say that the two things I love a lot, language. So I love like learning about the English language and using the English language in as many ways as possible. And the other thing I like is sports. And I realized that at the end of my JC, and quite a number of my values were shaped by the teachers who taught me those subjects, right? Whether it was PE, my track and field coach, Mr. Mike, who is still at Raffles Institution.
I didn't know you were a track and field guy.
Oh yes, I was a track and field guy.
Were you a runner or?
I was a runner. I was a 400-meter runner.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your personal best?
51.69.
Tasty.
I still remember that.
Listen, the 400 meters is unequivocally the hardest race in athletics.
Oh yeah.
You know.
It is one of those races that at the end of the last 100,
Yeah.
your bum feels like as though it doesn't exist anymore.
You're gone.
No, yeah.
Well, I haven't told you this. I haven't released this episode yet. So I interviewed Roger Black, who won the silver medal behind Michael Johnson in 1996. So he was one of my childhood heroes. He was gracious enough to do the podcast. We did it via Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know what just shocked me was he said he never trained 400 meters during training. Mm-hmm. They would do like 8 times 300 meters and things like that. But 400, you know, I think you have to be a masochist to do it a little bit.
Actually, interestingly, I think that school of thought is actually quite right. I was in the 400 meters, but my coach always made me train like 2 times 200 or 300 and then 100. And we never really did the full distance all the time.
Yeah.
There was only once or twice where, funny enough, when I recall that, my training was actually spent mostly chasing girls.
Why does that not surprise me? Listen, me too. That's why I'm a fast runner.
No, seriously, because there weren't that many guys who were specializing in the same event as me.
Okay.
So I used to race against the 4x100 meter relay girls. So they would do the 4x100 meter relay, and I would chase them doing the 400.
That's
and
good
that would
training.
be my training. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Actually, that's how I used to train. Not the girls though. There would be my teacher would line up 4 guys, and the thing is, by the time you get to the end of the third leg, you're dying, as you well know. So right. So then you decided to become a physical education teacher.
Absolutely right. So the decision was really mainly based on the fact that I was like, I think this is something that I'll enjoy. I thought I would enjoy teaching, and especially physical education. So that was what I aimed for. Like right after my A-levels, I applied as soon as you get your results, you can apply later on, I think. And that was the first thing I applied for.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And then, so what happened then? So where did you start? How long were you doing that for?
Teaching?
Yeah.
Let's see. I was teaching for about 5 years.
Oh, that long?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2004, and then I taught until 2008. 2004, 2005,
So
2007.
what cracks me up about you is how someone goes from studying like all the serious subjects that you did to teaching PE to going the creative way.
Yeah.
So you're a Renaissance man. When were you thinking, look, even though you enjoyed teaching, I'm sure, when did you realize, listen, this is not my calling?
So really, actually, I never felt that teaching was not my calling.
Okay.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. But the reason why I left teaching initially was because, you know how in Singapore, guys especially, we go through the education system, right? So you got your PSLE, your O-levels, your A-levels, you go to NS, you go to uni, and after you leave uni, you straight away get plonked in a job.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me. And so when I was teaching for about 5 years, I look back and I realized that sometimes I couldn't buy what I was telling my students. You tell them what you think is right, but I don't think you've had enough. I felt like I didn't have enough life experience to be able to teach life things. And these were older kids that I was teaching at the JC level, right?
Okay.
So
That's a very valid point.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, look, I'm not equipped enough in life to be able to tell people what would be a good thing to do or to help them manage their thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I'll take a 1 year sabbatical, just travel, do my own thing, and maybe come back teaching after that. 1 year became 15 years.
So when did you realize after into the year, did you think, look, I'm not going back?
Yeah, it was I think because I started being able to satisfy myself creatively in that sense. And that's when I really explored the creative side of me. And I mean, I've always been in music in some way or other.
Yeah.
In NS, I had a torn ligament in my left knee, 2 torn ligaments, sorry. And that's when I decided, I thought for fun, I'll just audition for the music and drama company since I like music.
Okay.
And I got in, and that's where my first experiences with performing were.
Really? So you did a bit of acting as well?
Yeah, so we do everything. So as artists in the music and drama company, we learn acting, we learn singing, we learn dancing.
Yeah.
So I started off actually as a dancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to do some Bhangra later, bro.
We learn everything. We learn ballet, jazz, tap, you name it, man.
I did all of those as well, but at a very young age, and I hated it.
You're like Billy Elliot.
Yeah, almost, because like my babysitter, her daughter did all of those things. So I had to do them, but I was like 5 and 6 and I hated it. And then when I was 14, I hurt my knee and I thought, I couldn't play sports for a short time. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start the theatre company at school, and it's my way to meet girls. And I fell in love with drama as a result of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like acting is...
I always think that it's timing, man.
Yeah, time is everything.
Yeah, exactly. And similarly, I think that's how I ended up pursuing music, right? I was actually part-timing gigs during NS and while I was in uni as well. Just doing stuff for fun, playing on the weekends.
But when did you start playing the guitar and start singing?
I started playing the guitar when I was or at least properly. I started properly learning the guitar when I was 19, 20.
Oh, only that? Oh, late?
Yeah, late. I did learn a little bit when I was in school.
Yeah.
But so what happened was when I first started music, I know this is going all over the place, but when I first started music in 1997, I started playing gigs. I had another band. It wasn't Jack. It was 2 guys, Benny and John.
Okay.
And the both of them, about a year into us playing at the bars, they went overseas to study. And that's when I remember Benny was telling me like, hey dude, you better learn how to play guitar so that you can support yourself while singing. I was like, that's a good idea because both of you are going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
So I spent a whole period just picking up all the songs that we were playing in our repertoire
Okay.
and learning to play by myself. So after they left, I was solo, man. I was playing solo for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And when did you realize that your hobby, your passion was going to turn into your living?
I think it's when I left teaching and I took that year sabbatical and I did all that I wanted to do. I watched like Dragon Ball for 3 months, like nonstop every night.
Okay.
I did part-time gigs still. I was playing with Jack then already. So I just upped the number of nights that we played because you need some money, right? You need to pay some bills.
Yeah.
So I just upped the number of nights that I played and then I traveled whenever I felt like it. And it's great traveling off peak, man. When you don't have school holidays and you travel, it's the best.
It feels different, right?
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper for one. And I indulge in a lot of solo travel as well.
Solo travel, I think not enough people do it because it's so good for the soul, gives you time to think introspectively.
It is. You get lots of space and the adventures that you can end up on can be pretty crazy too.
Do you ever rock up into a bar and then, end up working a couple of gigs impromptu?
I have done that before.
I'm sure.
For sure. I walked into open mics before and overseas and just like, oh, let's do this. Hey, I don't mind singing a song with you.
Did you used to play Walla Walla, didn't you?
Yeah, for years, man.
Yeah, because that's where I first saw you sing. And there was such a great vibe back then.
Yeah, it was about 18 years that Jack and I were at Walla Walla.
18 years?
18 years.
Wow.
2002 till COVID.
Really? That's mad.
Yeah.
So then how did you deal with all the naysayers? I'm sure there were some saying, listen, this isn't probably a career, especially in Singapore.
People tell me that all the way till now, man.
Still?
Yeah, people are like, people do say that, much respect that you managed to do this. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, why is it so exceptional that I did this? I mean, if you want to be a good doctor, you got to study and you got to be good at your practice. You got to have good bedside manners. And I think the same thing as a musician, right? You got to, you got to work. You got to be interested in what you do.
But you got to put in the training, right? And,
of course. I mean, it's hours of practicing, man.
No, but talk about that because I'll share with you why. Most people take aside doctors.
Yeah.
I think they go to work every day and they just think by doing it they're going to get better, and they don't practice. And I think that's wrong. I think you need to learn, right? So you're a musician. Apart from playing, you're probably watching people, listening, trying new things.
Oh, definitely.
To improve your craft.
And of course, making the right friends.
Yeah.
Who are also equally as passionate and all want to share their knowledge. And I think I've got a pretty good bunch of friends who I work with. Yeah.
So when was your inflection point? Because this is what I'm really curious about. So was it deep into the year of the sabbatical, or was it after that you said, okay, I'm now on this new path, I'm not turning it back?
I think one of the things that happened during that sabbatical, actually, when I started taking it, one of the things that was in the bucket list was to do an album with Jack. And so we had written a bunch of songs over the years, and the plan was to record them. So we got down to recording them. We released the album. And I guess unexpectedly, some things took off. And I was just looking at the numbers at that point in time. And I thought to myself, look, I think if I work hard enough in music, I could make as much as I did when I was a teacher. Not that I'll be very wealthy, but at least I could earn the same amount. And when you earn the same amount, at least your feet are kind of on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, okay, I'm just going to hop into music and see what happens. And my sabbatical became 1 more year.
I love it.
Or 2 more years. I think I planned for 3 years, and then I'll consider my steps after those 3 years. And I was lucky enough that things took off.
Because one of the things I think people worry about is the consistency or the stability, because you're always having to find work, right? So then you have to put on a little bit your business development hat to get the network to build that. Was that weighing at the back of your mind?
Definitely. Definitely. I would dare say, right, I'm not exactly the most outgoing person, or sometimes not exactly the most outwardly friendly.
Well, a lot of people probably think you're an extrovert, right?
No,
but you're
way,
not,
man.
right?
No way.
Yeah.
I love my quiet time, and I
Yeah,
love,
same.
Yeah, exactly right. You know
Yeah.
how that feels. But Jack, on the other hand, is a little bit more. He gets energy from people, and he's always bouncy around people.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of helped me along as well. And we always had this principle where we would talk to customers, we would talk to our clients, events people, whoever it is. And I think that's how we laid a network. And that helped us a lot.
What I've learned about business partnerships is you have to respect each other. It helps if you're very similar but also different, yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance each other out. And at the core, hopefully you have a friendship.
Yeah.
Because most business partnerships don't last.
I'm curious, actually, how long have you been working? I mean, you have...
I was with my my initial business partner for about 13, 14 years.
Oh.
And he moved back to the UK, and I was very sad about that. I bought him out of the business, but we're still like best friends today. And then I've got another business partner who's based in Australia, and again, I've known him for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you might butt heads a few times, but if there's underlying respect at the end of it, right, it's okay. But I did find with my initial business partner, we were rowing, in different directions. And it didn't work out, and it wasn't working out. And that was okay. The main thing is the friendship's still there.
Yeah.
But there were a few testing times.
I think you're right. I think once directions start to differ, or the main vision of the goal starts to differ, sometimes it's good to relook where you're at in that sense. Yeah.
And you've got to be honest with yourself.
Of course.
It's like anything, like marriage as well. It's the same thing. What are some of the other main challenges that you've faced, in the music industry in Singapore? Because it's, I had a guest on here who was a magician, and he ended up going into banking. And he felt that it was only ever going to be 2 years, and that satiated his appetite. But I'm just curious, what are the main challenges? He thought it was because there's not enough business here, right? But, what have been main challenges for you?
I think the main challenge really is keeping the interest, keeping the flame alive. Yeah, that's something that, especially as a creative person, you always stumble at some point, because you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got an album, I've written enough songs, I've released a couple of singles, is that enough? And then you're like, maybe I want to work more on my music. And you know that sometimes that doesn't pay the bills as well. But then you got to satisfy this need to want to create something new.
Yeah.
So I think when you hit that point, then you feel like there's this plateau, right? And you're just walking the same level. And you feel like you need to step up somewhere. And then you start searching for things that would satisfy that. Sometimes you find the right thing, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm, in a way, in that sense also, and that's why I think Jack and I went a little bit into mentoring and teaching as well. So we still conduct workshops in schools.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do like songwriting workshops.
Brilliant.
Writing workshops.
That's very rewarding.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps a little bit, right? You diversify. So I always feel that, when you come to that stumbling block, it's good to try and look for options to diversify.
Yeah.
Not to completely switch out until you really feel that you've expended your need, that need for fulfillment.
I heard this quote the other day that kind of stuck with me about going into business ventures or doing something new. And the advice was, don't do it unless it's going to kill you not to do it. And I thought about that, because sometimes you have that, because when you're about to do something that other people don't understand, a lot of people will say, I don't know if you should do that. And after a while, I don't ask people their opinion, because you ask 10 people, you're going to have 10 different opinions. So if at your core you really want to do it, you just got to go for it.
But do you think that's because of people's, how would I say, not wanting to change something, kind of happy with the status quo in that way?
Yeah, I think so. And I've learned not to take advice from people who haven't done it. If someone's done it, tried, doesn't matter if they failed, I'll have a chat, I'll listen to them. But if they haven't done it, why am I listening to you?
Actually, since you were a headhunter before, right?
Yeah. I still am. 30 years.
Oh, yes. Since you are a headhunter, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't you get people who come up to you and tell you that? Like, should I be changing my line of work, or should I just look for something within the same sector?
A lot. So one of the major things I sit down is I do an analysis of if you look at Tara, my wife, she was a corporate lawyer, and she inadvertently became my first career coaching client because she wasn't very happy, and she doesn't listen to a word I say, which is why we're still happily married. She just ignores me.
Okay.
But I wrote her like a 5-page love letter with 5 different career options, and they were very detailed. So it's like one was, become a novelist. So I had a picture of a Harry Potter book and said, look, you can become a writer. This is what it looks like. And what I think a lot of people get to the stage is if you're doing relatively well financially at 40, 45, you think you can take your foot off the pedal and then reflect. The reality is our parents' generation, if you're a bricklayer and you've earned okay money, but you haven't earned enough to take a sabbatical, for example, then you don't have an option. Maybe you become the owner of the company, or maybe you become a contractor. But I find a lot of people in industry now have at that inflection point. Should I do something different? And I think that, so what I do is I help them do an analysis at the very core. Who are you? So for example, if you're an introvert, do you really want to become a salesperson? Test drive that car before you buy it. Know what it looks like. But that's a lot of people. That's why your story is so interesting, because you've had 3 or 4 different avenues. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to roll back. So during COVID, it must have been phenomenally difficult for you and Jack.
Oh, yeah. COVID was...
Forget about it, right?
I mean, I would say I was upset, yes. And I mean, this is a story that I do, and not a lot of people know. So I was expecting that whole closure of bars to happen, right? Closure of bars and events. And that is my main source of income, right? And it happened. I remember the day that they announced it, the government announced it. I just took a walk. I went downstairs, and I don't know why in my brain, the first thing that I thought was, let's see how many people are queuing up at the supermarkets for toilet paper and essentials, right? I was a bit disappointed because there were no long queues for toilet paper. I think people had wisened up then. But yeah, I mean, I just took a walk around my neighborhood, and maybe maybe it was the reaction that came out of being either sad or just my natural reflex to something. When something pops up in my face, like a wall, a brick wall, my first instinct is, how do we get around it, or how do we get through it or over it?
Or if you have to, through it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that's instinctive for me.
I love it.
And I think a lot of, like, especially even my wife, for example, sometimes I think when we are faced with a problem, she does tell me, like, you need to acknowledge the problem first and how you feel about it before you try to barge through it.
Yeah.
And I acknowledge that she's right about that sometimes. But so I always think of, okay, what shall we do now? And so in my brain, that's when I was thinking to myself, okay, Jack, I called Jack, I was like, okay, we're gonna start live streaming on Facebook. And we started doing trials like the day after, or within a week, we were like calling each other, trying to see how can we play music with each other without that internet lag if we are streaming from 2 different places. And it doesn't exist. There's always a lag. So you can never jam together online. Yeah. So our challenge was, how do we present something that is, so we started doing Sunday night live streams to replicate what we had at Walla Walla. Because Walla was like our little family gathering every Sunday. Yeah. In that sense. So so we took off on live streams, and as we did that, I learned how to slowly improve the live stream. I got small little pieces of equipment to try and help us, interfaces, cameras.
Wow.
And slowly, as the rules started relaxing a little bit more, we started live streaming from our guitar shop / studio.
Okay.
And I think that lasted for quite a while. And that became like a full-on live stream setup, man.
Wow.
We were live streaming on Facebook. We moved over to Twitch.
Yeah.
Became partners on Twitch as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you adapted.
Yeah, we adapted.
And I love it.
Honestly, we adapted, but the money was never going to be the same.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it probably got you greater exposure, hopefully.
Definitely. I mean, I think having a live stream community is quite interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, having people come in and chat with you, and they even say hi to us now, and stuff. So, yeah.
When you look back at so far, what have been the more memorable performances and where?
During COVID?
No, just in general.
Oh, in general.
Like, has Walla Walla been your favorite place to
Walla
perform
was
at?
always like home, man. We always had sentimental value for Walla Walla because we started as a duo on Sunday nights there.
Yeah.
And we were there for 18 years.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And we had a little community that came down on Sunday nights. We had these Sunday night rituals, we'd go down to Walla, people buy us Jaeger shots. We would like be drinking with our friends. It was like a little party that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
And slowly everyone started knowing about it.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish at Walla, we'll cross over to Baden,
Yeah.
right across the road, and we'll be having our after, also called after gig drinks there. And
Yeah.
it was nuts, and it was beautiful until it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still feel a little bit sore about that. By the way.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
So what was your pivot? How did you become a radio DJ?
that's very interesting. So this would date back to maybe late 2000s when Jack and I did a regular appearance with Jean Danker
Okay.
on Class 95, on Mediacorp Class 95.
I love Jean Danker. She's very spunky, a lot of personality.
Oh, she's great. She's great.
Yeah.
And she got us on a show
Okay.
just to come on as musicians and sing some requests and have fun at people's expense. Sometimes hers. So that was our first like experience with radio.
Yeah.
And we did that for a few years with her. And then we left, and of course I was doing my own thing. And I think maybe in the past 2 years or so, I entertained the thought of trying radio part-time.
Okay.
So one of my friends was actually in Mediacorp Class 95 at that point. She was doing the 2 to 5 p.m. belt. And she dropped me a message. She's like, hey, they're looking for part-time DJs to do the weekends and stuff. If you're interested, let Maggie know. Maggie is the program director of Class 95.
Okay.
And so I said, okay. And at that point, actually, funny enough, I was doing a musical.
Okay.
I was involved in a musical production as one of the main cast. It was called Unforgotten. Yeah,
I didn't know you did those things. I would have loved to have come and watched them, man.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. It was like my first musical theater production.
Okay.
And it was full on with song and dance and everything, man. It was fun. So I was doing that at that point in time. And I said, okay, never mind. After I finish this production,
Yeah.
then I will drop her a message. And that's what I did. So that was around September 2020.
Do you
Three?
remember how long it was when you thought you were entertaining the idea
Yeah.
of doing radio, and then you got that call? Was it quite close?
It was quite close.
Let me tell you why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that when you start thinking about things like that positively, the stars align. Right? So like my son, I had said to him, listen, you're a good looking guy. You should do some modeling. And then like within 2 days, the phone rang and things happened. It's just
Yeah,
weird.
it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's that connectivity. I'm curious.
I know. So it was a short lead time. I think I always had that idea or that thought at the back of my head somewhere, but maybe I just never thought about it seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I actually gave it serious thought. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try to enter the radio industry,
Yeah.
but I'm going to start part-time.
Yeah.
No pressure, right?
Ease
Weekend
into
shifts,
it.
once a week, get to know the console and everything well. And so I went in, and it just so happened that my friend who told me about the part-timing, she actually had left the 2 to 5 p.m. slot on Class 95.
Oh,
And it turned out they were looking for someone to fill it up.
wow.
And so I met up with Maggie and Yasminne, who does the lunchtime show, and Jean also spoke to me prior to that. They were like, Ray, there's this opening, and if you want it, just tell Maggie that you want it and go and apply for it and try for it.
Okay.
And they said, we know how you work, and we think you'll be great on Class 95.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I spoke to Maggie, and she said, yeah, there's this slot open, the full-time slot. Are you ready to go into full-time job again? Right? I've been freelance for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
And
I bet in that moment you were thinking, I need to think about this.
you're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking I need to think about this, but I did make the decision quite quickly. And I was just like,
Well, it's a great opportunity, right?
oh, it was, of course.
Huge.
I mean, can you imagine? It's like you're supposed to be part-timing, but someone says, there's an opportunity for you to be a full-time DJ now.
Yeah.
And if you miss out on it,
It's gone.
exactly, the radio station only has like I mean, on our radio station at least, there are 2 in the morning, 4, 5. Oh no, I'm counting.
There's not many
7.
slot-
There's
yeah.
7 people.
Well, it's not
in
just
total.
it's not just that. The other thing is, I think people overlook this. If you're asked and you say no, you may not be asked again, even another slot comes up, because they thought we asked that fella once anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So there is that risk, right?
Yeah.
And this is once in life. Sorry.
Bless you.
And this is once in a lifetime. I mean, if I give that slot, it'll probably be at least 5 years before I can even try again.
Yeah.
Before somebody else decides to resign or whatever it is, or retire or whatever. So I was just like, hey, let's just do it. And I think that's where having a support structure really helps in making those decisions.
Who's in your support structure?
I mean, of course, at that point in time, it was my wife.
Okay.
And we've only been married 3 years at that point.
Okay.
But she's always been very supportive, and she was just like, this opportunity is here, and you want to take it up. And I was actually worried about taking it up because my baby was 1 plus, and being freelance helped me have a lot of time with him, enable my wife to still go to work. My wife does 9 to 5.
Okay.
So it enabled her to go to work. I could still take care of the baby when the grandparents couldn't. At least there was a lot of flexibility in taking care of the boy.
Yeah.
But she was just like, but it's an opportunity. Do you want it? If you want it, you go for it, and we'll make it work.
I love it.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, thank God you're here.
Listen, it's huge because
Yeah, I mean, how about you, man? What's your support structure?
So my wife Tara, you've known Tara longer than me.
course, yeah, long
She's been in my corner from day one when I had nothing, and I always think. And I was telling my son this last night. I said, if you meet someone now when you're young, right? It's different if you're in your 50s and you're already married and divorced. But if you meet someone when you're young, and they end up basically believing in 2 versions of you: the version you are today and the version you want to become. And if they believe in your dreams almost as much, if not more than you do, then that's the person you should be with, right? Because I just think that goes such a long way. And, I see a lot of couples that break up when they go through hardship or supposed hardship. But the reality is when you see, like we've seen both our dads die, my mum die, her grandmother die. We've been through all that adversity, financial hardship. And I think that pulls you together, a good couple, and makes you a lot stronger. So I think that goes a long way, man.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
No, I mean, I really felt quite well supported then. I think, and that's the interesting part. I mean, to be honest, I was quite late into getting married. I got married when I was 42.
That's all right.
Yeah, but there's this whole period of time that you have this freedom, right?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of pushed my career on as well. I had this freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I wanted to do it. I could take a break when I wanted to. I could just switch, do new things, do new projects without thinking.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, of course, having somebody else in my life, having a baby, I felt like I needed someone else's word
Yeah.
and someone else to be there.
But the flip side is that you now had some stability as well, right? With the radio gig.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
That's the positive.
it was enticing in that sense because there is stability. I don't have to keep thinking about what my next step is going to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when I weighed out, I feel the stability was a factor. But I think it still was my interest and my passion to want to do the job
Yeah.
that got me
That was
there
the
in
key.
the first place. Yeah.
I'm curious, right? Because I've been on radio once, and psychologically, it's live. It makes a difference. Like we're talking now, we probably won't need to do any edits, but the psychology that we could go back and edit things if we wanted changes everything. But I'm guessing appearing live all those years,
Yep.
on stage, did that help you transition into doing live radio?
I think definitely.
Must have done, right?
Yeah. Let's just look at the lead time that I had, and this is very interesting. And I don't know if my boss is gonna enjoy me saying this, but so what happened was when I applied for the job, right? Literally, I had 2 full training sessions with Yasminne in the afternoon,
I love it.
and that was to get to know what to press, the procedures, and all that. Which I think half of which I don't do now. And then after that, it was, okay, I'm just going to push some buttons on behalf of Yas. She's still there and she's supervising me, but I'm pressing her buttons for her.
Yeah.
And then after that, it goes to let's take a weekend shift or two, get some practice in, get somebody to supervise me while I'm doing my shift.
By the way, you need to explain that you're pressing buttons literally, not just figuratively.
Yes, pressing buttons like literally like being an octopus.
But I've seen the whole setup, and it's a lot.
Yeah, you do have to know a fair bit about how the system works.
Yeah.
So that you can have a very smooth show. And when things go wrong, at least you know what to do. If not, you'll just be panicking, man. And it's live, right?
Yeah.
You can't panic when it's live.
Yeah.
So, okay. And all that happened in the window of about 2 weeks.
Crazy.
Yeah. So in December, I did my first like full weekend shift. And
Okay.
during that time, they were like, hey, Ray, by the way, just to let you know, so when you finally start fully, your show is going to start on January 15th. And you'll be doing 2 to 5 p.m. slot.
Bang.
Yeah. And I mean, I knew I was taking that slot. I knew in advance.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to happen by January 15th when I just finished getting trained around end of December.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, wow, all right. And seriously, I had some bouts of imposter syndrome at the start.
I'm sure.
Because I'm in the top English radio station in Singapore, man.
There's
and
nowhere
the
to
guys-
hide, man.
No, and the guys who are alongside me are all experienced.
Yeah.
Like you're talking like Gene has been in radio for 20 plus years, Yazzie as well.
Yeah.
The Muttons have been in radio for 20 plus years. The younger ones like Kat and Edward, they've had a couple of years under their belt as well.
Yeah.
So I'm the noob.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned earlier, performing live and having that experience of establishing a rapport with your audience definitely helped me to overcome that initial fear of facing the mic.
But the thing is with you, knowing you as I do, you're all in. So you know, it was just a matter of time before you've probably felt like you hit your groove.
Definitely, because when I first went all in, yes, I didn't have much fear about facing the mic, but it was a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Literally, there's no one else in the studio.
Oh, there isn't?
No.
Wow.
I'm there by myself. I'm solo and I'm talking to myself. And I'm new. And I decided that I was going to be in Singapore in terms, of course, kiasu, but afraid to lose out.
Yeah.
Or lose in any way. And I actually, when I first went in, my first month, I was fully scripted.
Yeah.
It's like I would script everything I would say
Yeah.
and try to deliver it conversationally. And only when I started feeling a bit more comfortable about being on the mic, I started reducing it. Now I use bullet points
Yeah.
or reminders.
But you sound very authentic, and I think that's probably the key to most of your success.
No, but it took me at
wow.
least half a year to feel comfortable in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the other guys who have got so much experience, right? So they are probably just like, I'm here and I'm bang. And I'm still very in the preparation process. I take a long time to think about things and I make sure that I know what I'm going to say next because it's so important. It is that important.
Of course.
And that was the ball game that I had to learn that was different from being live as a live musician. Live with your audience in front of you, you know, you get immediate response. You can read what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But in a radio station, you can't read what people are thinking.
Did you kind of seek mentorship from like Gene and some of the other people around you?
Yeah. So, of course, when I go in, the first person I see is Yasminne because she's on the shift right before me.
Yeah.
She does 10 to 2, yeah. So whenever I go in and I had something that I need to ask or find out, I'll be like, Yazzie, you need some help, you know. And then she'll just tell me, or when I finish my show, Gene is right after me.
Yeah.
So if something went wrong or
Yeah.
I feel like I need some help in something, I was like, hey, Gene, you know, this happened earlier. Like, how do I deal with it?
You're on the second leg of the relay, bro.
I'm like sandwiched between two great people.
Yeah.
Right? And who doesn't want to be sandwiched between Yazzie and Gene?
You said that. You said that. I don't disagree, by the way.
No, but they were great. They're wonderful colleagues. They've been friends for many years, and I think everyone at the station has been very helpful. Even my boss as well. She's always like looking out, giving me feedback, and
That's huge.
yeah, and it's been great so far. Yeah.
What, in terms of, you know, the personalities around you have shaped the way that you do what you do? Because, you know, when you have, the thing is, I'll give an example. You're talking about running, right? When I was a runner and a boxer, I had favorite athletes, but I realized, you know, I couldn't replicate
Who
what
was
they
your favorite
do.
boxer?
Mike Tyson, unequivocally, in terms of just favorite to
Oh,
watch,
wow.
right? But so if you look at like Michael Johnson and how he would run, you know, no one can replicate that. But I'm just curious, like, did you take different, you know, snippets from different people and kind of build that into the essence of what you were doing?
I think if there's one thing that I learned from my colleagues is to not really take anything from them in terms of personality.
Yeah.
Because you can't fake being someone, especially on air or anywhere. You can't tell people that you're this person, right? That you're not,
Yeah.
unless you're a really good actor.
Yeah.
So the thing that I learned from them actually was to really just be yourself. Of course, not a toned down version of yourself, because you're on radio, you need to have a certain energy, right? But if I did pick up things from my colleagues, it's literally like strategies, things like how to manage callers or how to, you know, the little in-betweens, right? I read books as well. I've got this book at home. It's called Radio Secrets by David Lloyd.
I love it.
And it does tell you how to engage in an audience on radio, on that platform.
Did you seek that book out yourself, or did someone recommend it?
Oh, I seeked it out. I looked online and
I love
I
it.
did some research and
I want to talk about that
Yeah.
because a lot of the time, even to my own team, I explain, look, I can give you books to read, but and you should do that, right? And I can curate what you're doing so you don't fall off the beaten path and go down the wrong path. But if you're curious and you do your own research, unequivocally, that will raise your level of game, because your curiosity and the drive to be better is key to everything.
have you read any books on headhunting?
Nearly every book that's probably ever written about them. So like,
How did it help you?
so the thing about a lot of sales books
Yeah.
is they're written like a Bible, and they try to get you to follow it exactly. So what I've learned from reading things, if you read something that doesn't work for you, flip it. So basically, if there are 10 points and 5 of them don't work for you, flip it and make it work for you. But effectively, the fundamentals, right? So for example, if you're on radio, or if I'm doing an interview, or I'm speaking to someone, I call them transitions. And what I've learned to do is, when I'm interviewing very senior people, if I ask them a very difficult question and I can tell they're processing it, I'll give an example. So I will ask them a question, then I'll give a statement, and I'll go back to the question. So I'll give an example. If I ask you, what would improve your viewership and people listening, and how could you create, you know, a greater audience in your current organization? And you're thinking that's an interesting question, but I can tell you're still processing it. So perhaps not to embarrass you, I might give an example. So, you know, in with the podcast, I'm still so infant in it. I'm learning how to do all the e-marketing, you know, the Instagram reels, the search engine optimization, so on and so forth. And by doing that, I'm also explaining to you that I don't mean that question offensively, right? I'm just trying to find out a little bit more. And then that comes back and it kind of explains to you why I'm asking that question. And then I ask it to you, and then you'd give me the answer. Because sometimes when I'm speaking to corporate clients, they think they're testing me, but it's both ways, and it's a relationship. You know what I mean? So very few books that I've read have that level of detail. So, but if you read different clippets from different books, you pull together your own strategies. And then the other thing is, I write it down. So I don't know if you've done this, but did you had scripts initially,
Yeah.
and then bullet points, you know? So that's what I learned from reading all those sales books.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how do you think that actually, I mean, as a headhunter, you have to have your own authenticity, right? I'm just being curious here.
Yeah, 100%.
So what do you think is like your character as a headhunter?
Well, you know me, right? I am who I say I am. There's no BS. It's with everyone, it's the same. But I'll go back to my martial arts and boxing. So typically in martial arts and boxing, there are fundamental things that you can do well. But what I've realized is, if you're fighting someone and everyone does the same thing, you can read them. So it's the person that does things that are uncharacteristic that you can't see. So if someone's telegraphing things. So for example, at the core, I care about people. So I'll talk to them and I'll ask them questions. And listen, I got fired from my first 3 jobs. I've redlined so many conversations. I used to be so aggressive in my mentality that I can feel that this conversation is going a little bit south. And how do you pull it back? So for me, you know, if at the core you care about people and you show that you're genuine, you give a little bit of yourself back, people will share with you. So actually, believe it or not, a lot of the career coaching clients I've had, and I say maybe 90%, it's crazy, have at some point cried during one of my sessions. It's weird. It's a little bit weird. It's a bit because
Is it because they unlock something that they?
I think so. It's almost, I mean, part of it might become life coaching a little bit because people are going down that genesis. If someone's getting divorced or someone's died recently or they're under tremendous pressure, you know, if you're under financial pressure, you're the breadwinner at home, you know, everything's on the line. How do I deal with this interview? Or how do I try to negotiate a pay rise? You know, so that's pretty interesting. It's tough. You know, what's also interesting about you is you're asking me questions, and rarely people ask me questions, and I love. And I'm guessing you've learned that also being on the radio show.
Oh yeah, of course. Because when you, I feel that when you interview someone, it's not always one way.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be one way.
It shouldn't be.
It should be a conversation, and I learned how to be. I mean, I think I've always just been that curious. I'm just curious about what people think.
Yeah.
And
That's the key word, right? Curious.
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
curious, yeah.
Because if not, then you're really just being a bit self-absorbed, don't you think?
Yep.
And I think it's fascinating what people have to share.
Yeah.
And that's the most amazing part about life, right? It's
Yeah.
like, it's the stories that people have. And we always, and I remember once, this was quite funny. It's after a breakup. And of course, after breakup is when you're most reflective about things, right?
Yeah.
So I was sitting at the top, you know, at one point in time at Shaw Lido, you used to be
Yeah.
able to go upstairs to this garden
Yes.
illegally and sit down. And I was sitting there and I was just looking down at the big junction that's in front of Wheelock Place and stuff, right? And I was just looking down, I was just looking at all these people walking. And just at that moment, I was like, it's very interesting how we are all just walking past each other, but everyone has got something different going on. Everyone has got a different story. And I always share that during my songwriting classes as well. I'm like, why do you think your story is, or what you're experiencing is not interesting or something that you don't want to share? And it's surprising, and that's what I tell people what creative writing, what songwriting is about. It's really about sharing.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have had a prata for breakfast. I had a cup of Milo. Already we had two different things for breakfast.
Yeah.
Can you imagine our thoughts, the differences in our thoughts and our lives as we go along? And, you know, it's not just food, right? So, yeah, I just, at that moment, I was just like, wow, you know, this is fascinating how people's paths cross.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think 20 years ago I'd be sitting down here talking on a podcast with you, man.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? It's
We were just
mad.
having drinks.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. What I find interesting is in what your medium, which is music, of all the mediums, I think it has the most impact, right? Because, you know, if like, for example, Rocky, don't even have to be watching. You hear the score and then you're moved, you know? So all the years that you were playing, what are you hoping people felt when they were listening to you guys play?
It's about connection, really. It's
Yeah.
really about connection. The songs that you love. What's the song what's your favorite song?
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Sitting Dock of Bay. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you like that?
There's a few reasons. I watched it when I was 40. There was a cappuccino advert, and there was an extremely beautiful woman on the advert, and they had this song in the background.
Yeah.
And then I heard it on the radio, and back then I didn't have any money, so the way I would record music was when it was on the radio, I would press record, the two buttons on my stereo. So I always missed the very beginning because you don't know unless they announce the song's coming on.
Yeah,
And then I didn't realize like it was in the background scene of Top Gun. But it was for those reasons I just fell in love with the song and his voice, Otis Redding.
the song and the voice. How did it make you feel?
It makes me feel everything. And I love that song so much that when I die, I want my kids to play that.
Aw.
But very, very emotional. And then I think there's a lot of meaning. And then it's interesting, that song, it's evolved because at the time I didn't realize that Otis Redding died when he was 26 in a plane crash. And then I've since been to San Francisco where that song was basically written and what the inspiration was. So it's actually means different things now. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, like you said, that's where the connection is, right?
What's your favorite song
wow.
of all time? If you had to choose one to listen to and then one to perform, if they're different.
Wow, there are just so many, man. My life has got all these soundtracks, right?
Yeah.
So there was one song that accompanied me when on a breakup, as usual. When you break up, it's like that's when the best songs come out. There was one breakup that happened, and that was when The Pretender by Foo Fighters was out.
Okay, nice.
What if I say I'm not like the others?
Yeah.
Right? And that song accompanied me through the breakup. I just felt listening to that song made me feel liberated for some reason.
Wow.
I mean, I can still remember how I felt. It was sadness from the breakup, and you listen to the song and you're just like, yeah, I'm not like the others. I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
And even until now, I mean, I don't perform that song regularly.
Yeah.
Because I believe that if I do, it'll lose its meaning to me.
Yeah. Got to put it on the shelf and take it out.
Oh, so the only time I ever performed that song, so there's another band,
Yeah.
they're called Tabula, and they were
Okay.
playing at Wala as well. And I would jump on stage and I'll sing that song only with them.
Yeah.
And when I performed that song, the same feeling came back. That feeling of liberation, that feeling of getting past an obstacle, And I think that for me is a memorable feeling, right?
I'll tell you a funny one because I'm not a singer at all. But at my mum's funeral, at her wake, we're in Ireland and she's got a massive living room. And there were, 30, 40 people there. And most of them I've not met. They're in rural Ireland, so they're in their 70s. And it's just a little bit quiet because it's a somber time, obviously. But I was thinking, look, I want to celebrate my mum and I want to thank everyone. And it was just quiet. It wasn't working. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start singing and I'll get everyone together. And they're all going to be tone deaf anyway. So I started singing one of my mum's favorite songs. And in that moment, I don't often get nervous or embarrassed. But I did because I thought I'm going to because I just started singing. But you know what? It got everyone together and it changed everything. And then people were interacting. Now or Never, Elvis Presley.
Ah, okay.
I'm going to sing it to you.
Yep.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's now or never. Come hold me tight.
Aww.
Kiss me, my darling. Be mine tonight. Tomorrow
might be too late.
It's now or never. My love won't wait. That's exactly what happened, right? And it was like, and I thought, oh, that was really cool. And then everyone was having a cup of tea and some cakes. But music's just so important.
No, you're right. And going back to that again, it's connection. And why does music connect? It's because of the emotions that it makes you feel, right?
Yeah.
Nostalgia is one thing.
Yeah.
How it made you, like even now when I listen to like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson, I think of when I was 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
My mom would have the radio blasting in the kitchen.
Brings you back.
And brings me back and makes me feel happy, right?
Yeah.
Makes me feel like there's a memory there. And I think that's what music does. And I also try to share that on my radio show as well.
Yeah.
I remember that, the song Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day.
Yeah.
You know what it's about?
No.
Okay. So interestingly enough, so when Billy Joe Armstrong was young, his dad passed away. And I mean, long story short, after the funeral, he came back to his room and he was just, being, sentimental in his room or whatever he was doing, just sitting by himself. His mom came in and he just said he wanted to sleep. Wake me up when September ends.
Ah, I
And
didn't know that.
that was when he was really young. And he said he kept that line in his head for the longest time. And then finally he decided to put it in a song, and that was his closure in a way. That was it gave him a feeling about his dad,
Yeah.
right? And when I shared that story on air, I had people, coming on WhatsApp saying like, "Wow, Ray, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that story. And
I didn't know that
now
story.
I know the song makes me feel different.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's fantastic, right? And I think that is what people look out for.
One of my favorite songs is Pumped Up Kicks, but then when you think about, it was about a school shooting and this, that, and the other, it kind of changes the way you feel about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can look at it two ways, right?
Yeah.
I think the intention was actually to raise awareness.
Yes.
But some people do think that it's about glorifying shooting. But
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Now, talking about connectivity, the other way we connect is over food. And that segue brings me into your entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
Into restaurateurs or becoming a restaurateur. Tell us about that.
Well, that was really, I would say that was a journey of friendship. So after Jack got married, and his wifey was, she's from overseas. She was from Malaysia, But she's well traveled. She used to fly with Qatar Airways, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Qatar Airways, correct. And then so after they got married, she was based here, right? And she was, I think she was trying to find herself as well at the same time. And so she tried a few jobs, she studied and stuff. And then after she tried these few things, she was like, but she kind of realized her passion really is in food. And, the three of us are very close in that sense, almost family. And so she was like, I'm really passionate about food. And Jack and I mean, we've been working in the entertainment industry, but we also know that wherever we worked in bars or restaurants, whatever it is, they're all F&B venues. So we've seen the workings of F&B. We kind of subconsciously maybe took in information from our friends who are in F&B. And so when they decided, hey, they said, you want to come on board? We want to try having a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was just like, let's do it. Because it's you guys, I don't mind going into it. So again, sort of like support structure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it myself. But because a friend wanted to do it, I mean, somebody whom I consider like my sister, wanted to do it. And I was just like, it sounds interesting. And I also love food, and I love especially Japanese food and sake.
Yeah.
So they were just like, Ray, we're going to try and see, we're going to do like a Japanese restaurant. I was like, okay. And then they actually, as far as one night, we were just hanging out at Amoy Street. And they said, Ray, this is the lot that we wanted to look at. So they brought me to where the Flying Squirrel is now, which is actually located along a back alley, right?
It's hidden.
It's hidden.
But that's the appeal, I think.
Exactly. So when they brought me there, I looked outside, I was like, wow, this is so hidden. Just might work.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing. And next thing you know, they got the ball rolling, and we opened that restaurant. It's 92 Amoy Street, Flying Squirrel.
It's an amazing restaurant. I've had many good nights there.
Oh, thank you.
In fact, I met you through Kamal, and one day we were WhatsApping each other, and he'd had a lunch meeting there. And I think it was a Friday, and it was a late lunch meeting, and I said, do you want to meet for a drink? We were there for like 3 or 4 hours. They stayed open. We were just drinking.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, we were just drinking. It was empty. We just kept on drinking there. But what a great restaurant.
Thank you.
It's brilliant.
So that would be, I would say, all kudos to Angelina, Jack's wife, for conceptualizing and coming up with, the main menus, getting the guys in. It was really her baby.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to support it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was very involved in the first couple of years. I was working floor with Jack sometimes, with Angelina, we do service. So that was a very interesting experience for me, doing F&B.
Yeah.
It was funny also because people would be like, aren't you Ray from Cheng? And we were like, yeah. Oh, is it like bad times now? So you're taking another job?
Like, no, it's good times. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, right. So I was like, just doing it for fun. But I guess of course, when you're serving people, you're not like, hey, I'm the owner of the restaurant. You try and keep it under wraps a little bit.
Of course. How does your personal branding kind of dovetail with the restaurant? Because you guys had or have a brand, right?
Yeah, we do. We do pride ourselves with a very eclectic playlist.
Yeah.
It's a good playlist, I think, of good songs. And Jack was the one that curated it. I mean, we were all curating it at first, so Jack curates the playlist now. And I think, it's got our little character in there. It's a small, cozy place.
Very cozy. That's what I love about it.
Spontaneous.
Yeah. Great food.
Yeah. We try and keep it. We try and keep the character of the owners in that way.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Talk a little bit about when you look back at some of your more significant moments, in terms of the courage that it took to take on risk, from being a PE teacher to a musician, DJ, entrepreneur. What were the key pivotal moments?
I would say that I think money is, of course, the first thing that you think of. It's whether you have enough to sustain for a little while. And I guess I'm quite blessed in the sense that I always have been pretty okay with my money. I don't spend a lot of things.
Frugal.
Frugal. Yeah, that'd be a good word to use. Yeah, so I mean, whenever I was like COVID period, not having much work and all that, I wasn't too worried. Of course, I was worried. But I wasn't too worried because I'm like, okay, I still have enough to be able to last me for a little while. And Yeah, so when I make jumps into other forays, I think the only thing that I'm worried about when it goes into that is branding or whether it affects my whatever I mainly undertake at that point in time,
Yeah.
right? Which is why I guess hopping to being a radio DJ was relatively easy because I'm a musician,
Yeah.
and I'm just doing something else in the music industry.
Yeah, but you backed yourself. You have to believe in yourself.
Hmm.
Even though you might have had imposter syndrome, it didn't hold you back from trying in that moment.
For sure, man. And I think it also comes a lot from my mentality, I think. I don't know why, but I've always just had this thing where if something's tough,
Yeah.
I'm just going to take it on.
I love
Maybe
it.
I'm a sucker for punishment. I'm not sure.
That's at the core, you're a 400-meter runner.
Yeah. No,
You see?
even as simple, right?
Yeah.
As my wife telling me, like, I'm going to be at work at this time. Are you okay with the boy? Then I'm like, yeah, I'll just bring him out to the shopping center. She's like, oh, are you sure you'll be all right bringing him out? I'm like, yeah. And in my head, I'm thinking like, yeah, he might run around. He might want to go and try all the escalators. He might just want to press things and push things. I'm just like, okay, I'm fine. You know,
You'll work it out.
whatever happens, I'll work it out.
That's it.
You know, and I think, and that's the mentality that I've had for a long time. So, which is why, again, like when COVID came up, same thing. You know, it's like I know this hardship is in front of me, but I'm just gonna bulldoze my way through it. And that has helped me a lot of times. It sometimes doesn't help. when you don't think too much, sometimes it doesn't help. But I feel that making those transitions, that mentality has always helped me a lot.
What I'm curious about is, do you get creative fatigue? Because in your business and line of work, you're always on. You know, a lot of us, you know, at work, me probably not so much because of the nature of my job, but it can become a little bit mundane. But you're always having to think differently. You're having to interview new people, you know, new music's coming out. You know, do you get creative fatigue?
You see, that's the fun part, right? Whenever you're interviewing different people, there's always something different to look out for.
Yeah.
When it comes to music's always changing.
Yeah.
So that's also, you know, it kind of manages your plateau or stagnation in that sense, right? But you're right, you do get creative fatigue. I do get tired sometimes trying to think of. So like every week now, I've got this particular segment where I call it a remix. And it's where I do a parody of a song or I write a new song based on something that's happened that week.
I saw your one that you just did the other day. I loved it, man.
Yeah, man. So based on audience suggestions, something. So it's like a parody song or it's just a fun song. But sometimes thinking about it can be hard, man.
Are you reading off that? Because you surely can't have remembered it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm reading.
I couldn't tell.
I've got like a laptop
Yeah.
in front of me.
I mean, I presume because it's new, but I was thinking, I can't tell you're reading, by the way.
and so the material is fresh. It's always written either the morning
Yeah.
of the show or
wow.
maybe the night before.
That's pressure,
Or
by the way.
things can change.
Yeah.
Like maybe during the show something happens and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to rap about this.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So things like that. And yeah, you do get tired, man. I mean, I get exhausted sometimes. And that's where I guess, that's where I plan my leave.
Yeah.
So like every few months or so, I just take a couple of days and I just do things that are not too creative.
You need to recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think having those things to look forward to. What advice would you give to either, you know, young adults that are coming up and are under a lot of pressure to follow, you know, the typical path, or for parents like me and in you in the future that are trying to help their kids, you know, do different things? Because I think there's so much pressure for kids to follow what is considered bog standard, you know, and I've got my son wants to do something completely different, wants to become a movie director.
And I think that's great, man.
It's great. Yeah.
It's great that he has that goal already.
Yeah.
And at his age, you can be quite sure he'll probably follow through as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's where, you know, I mean, I think the thing that I would like to tell my son as well in 10, 20 years' time is really do what you enjoy,
Yeah.
because that's when you'll do best.
I love that.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love that.
And it's also one of the lessons that I learned in life. It's whatever it is that I'm doing, when I enjoy it, I really give my best.
Yeah.
When it came to music, when I went full time, I was trying to learn how to play guitar properly, and I enjoyed it at that point in time. So I would practice for hours, even though I'm still not that good, but I'll practice anyway. Or even now as a radio DJ, I go in early as I can. I finish my work, and I'm always doing extra stuff to try to build on whatever I know.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy the job.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly what I want to tell my son, and I would like to encourage him as well, is that when he enjoys doing something, whether he's 5 or 6 years old, he likes to dance, let's see what we can do to fuel that.
Yeah.
And when he's 18 or 20 years old, if he wants to go into film, he wants to be an actor, let's see what we can do to fuel that. Yeah.
By the way, what I also think is really important is for young kids to try music, acting, sports. These 3 things, you know, because I think there's an artist in all of us. You know, there's a sports person in all of us. Like Caden, if you know, you've probably seen me post pictures of him.
Yep.
He's in great shape, but he was not a natural athlete, and he didn't really fall in love with sports for a long, long time. Probably until he was about 14. So he never played much sport. And but what I realized is he just needed a little bit of encouragement and nurturing, right? And the funny thing is, I don't know about you, but when I was running, most of my teachers didn't believe in me. And someone said to the teacher, said to me, "I don't think you're any good." And I said, "I don't care what you think, mate, because at the end of the day, when I whoop you and all of your boys on the track, you know, there's nowhere to hide." Looking back, I think he just said that to get under my skin. I think he did believe in me. But it's funny how some teachers operate. And his name was Mr. Williams, and I really didn't like him. He was the head of PE. And years later, so I had no money, so I would run in my brogues, in my school shoes. And at one of the track meets, I think he was a bit embarrassed. And the next track meet, he gave me a pair of spikes. And I didn't realize this for maybe 2 or 3 years after I left high school. I went into the local sports shop, and a friend of mine was working there. And I said, "Oh, I need a new pair of spikes." And he said, "Oh, the old ones that Williams gave you, they don't, you know, you've outused them." And I said, "Yeah, how do you know about that?" He goes, "He came in to buy them." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He bought them with his own money." And I never got a chance to thank him.
Aww.
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy because he left the school. I don't know where he went. And I wish I could have. I tried to find him just to write him a note to thank him. But you know how big that would have an impact.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, very unusual.
Yeah.
Let's just talk a little bit rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
On the personal side, what's a common misconception that people have about you?
I think, like you said earlier, a common misconception that people have about me is that I'm extroverted and outgoing and all ready to.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not like that at all. I do enjoy a good party.
Yeah.
But I enjoy a good party with my close friends.
Yes.
And I still keep my circle very tight.
Yeah.
And so, I feel that I'm actually a bit more of a homebody. I like to game and watch movies and sit on the couch with my wife and watch TV.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you. How do you spend your time outside of work specifically to relax, given your job? Like, you can't be sociable all the time. So, like, what do you do to decompress? You still train? Do you do any physical training?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do gym.
Good man.
Although, after my son was born, my training is more restricted to the house sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do have a gym that I regularly go to.
Okay.
Aside from that, I mean, I do believe that doing at least some form of a workout helps mentally.
Big time.
Big time, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. When I miss out on a workout, I do feel a bit lethargic.
Yeah.
So I always try and make sure I get my workout in, no matter how short. 20 minutes at home, it's fine.
Still works.
Still something. But to decompress, really, I just like to just sit down and absorb what's around me. And I like watching anime. That's
Okay,
one.
okay.
So I try to make my quiet time now usually is when after my wife and my son have gone to sleep, I just spend a little bit of time outside with my cat
Yeah.
and watch a bit of anime. Sometimes I'll game. And I just kind of like a little bit of that escapism for
Good
just
man.
a little bit. Because I feel it just kind of settles me down a bit before I go to sleep. So I like doing those things.
We all need that. We all need that.
Yeah, my little personal hobbies.
What's next on your bucket list?
Woohoo!
Come on, baby.
It's interesting. I think I spent so long doing things that I liked without a consideration for anything else that now I think family is most important to me.
Yeah.
Spending time with my boy.
Love it.
So I think that's my priority at the moment. So my bucket list next is really to be as available as I can as a parent because my boy is still young. He's 2.
So young. Yeah.
Right? So I want to be able to spend as much time as I can before I am physically not really able to.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen, all the big holidays I've done with my family at the time, my wife thought I was crazy. But now when we look back at it, you know, if you think about it, you have 18 summers with your kids. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're gone. You know, you might see them again later. But, you know, when I look back at it, I hadn't gone for a family holiday with my parents from the age of 18 to probably 30 plus. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. Life gets in the way.
Correct. And it's going to take time for them to even understand the philosophy that, you know, I would like to teach them about life. And that is to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to try
Yeah.
things that you think are not conventional, but go for it.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've received. Wow, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Come back to it later, no problem.
Okay.
Favorite spot to unwind in Singapore?
Seriously, where a spot?
Yeah.
At the moment, I enjoy the Blackbird at Gilman Barracks.
Yeah, you do like that.
Oh yeah, I like the place. It gives off,
Do you know the owners?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the owners are buddies and they're also bandmates as well.
Yeah.
So I like the place because, of course, it gives off a bit of the Walla vibes.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like the Walla of old. Also because a lot of the bands that perform there used to be from Walla as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a
What a
it's
cool place.
It's a cool spot. It's in the middle of Gilman Barracks. It's
Yeah.
quiet.
It's chilled.
Yeah, and you just kind of feel like you're in your own space there.
So let's talk a little bit about what song gets you, you know, most relaxed and but lifts your mood. You struggle because you got so many, right? I was just curious.
Okay, well, I've got a couple of songs for different moods. So like when I'm feeling a bit of love, I will always think of the song Here, There and Everywhere by the Beatles.
Okay.
Reminds me a lot of my wife.
Okay.
Um,
You and I are both old romantics, right? I can tell. I love it.
yes, and if I need a song to get me going, I like listening to some good old Aerosmith, man. Walk This Way, Love in an Elevator, you know. I've got a whole playlist of what I call, what do they call, like Ray's Pick-Me-Ups or something like that.
Okay.
And I listen to them on the way to work so that I
man.
kind of get a little bit in the
Yeah.
groove of things.
You got it,
And
man.
You kind of, makes you feel like you're the man.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of mood.
Get you set up.
Yeah.
What if you could perform or collaborate with any three artists, past or present, you know, you could do a duet with, who would they be?
John Lennon
Okay.
and Paul McCartney.
I love it.
Actually, no, the whole Beatles. I
Okay.
want to be the fifth Beatle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done and dusted. Has any specific artist or athlete shaped your career and your life?
I would say that I set the bar for myself as a singer when I saw this Aussie guy by the name of Rick Price
Okay.
sing. And that was quite a funny story as well. I actually met him. So what happened was, at a point in time, I was in the music and drama company, and I was a backup dancer. I hadn't started singing yet, but I like to sing. And we went backstage, and it was Singapore Airlines' 25th anniversary show at the indoor stadium.
Okay.
So it's a big show. It was shown on TV and everything. And Rick Price and Savage Garden were there.
Savage Garden, yeah.
So I watched both of them do the sound check. Right, I was in the audience. They were doing the sound check, and Rick Price came on, and he sang his songs. And he was no backing track, nothing. He just played guitar and he sang. And that's just it. That's just him and his voice. And his sound check, he did it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sang the song 3 or 4 times, and he was perfect, man. Like impeccable. The emotion, the vocals, everything was just like. I was just like, whoa.
Is it not normal to practice so many times? 3 or 4?
Oh no, sound check. You do the song
You
3
do?
or 4 times.
Oh,
For
you
sure.
do?
It's normal.
Oh, really? Okay.
But each time he did it slightly differently from the previous version, and you could just tell he's just like feeling the moment
yeah.
and just getting into it. And of course, his live performance was fantastic again. And that was where I saw him and I was like, wow, you know, that is what I want to be. I want to be like the guy who stands alone on stage
Yeah.
and sings a song, and people are just like, whoa.
Bang. Captivated.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, and this, I'm sorry to keep you so long.
No.
But many years later, I was on this TV show in 2016 called My Squad is Better Than Yours.
Okay.
And I was supposed to sing one of his songs for the show.
Okay.
And just for fun, I thought I would write him an email.
No
Right?
way. Go
I
on.
wrote Rick Price an email.
Yeah.
Because his email's on his website.
Yeah.
I just wrote him an email and said, hey, Rick Price, Mr. Rick Price, I'm doing your song for this show. And I just wanted to tell you that you came to Singapore many years ago and what you did on stage just blew me away and I wanted to be like that, So I hope I can deliver your song to the best of my ability. And I didn't hear back from him until after the performance. And one day I checked my emails and I was like, reply from Rick Price? And I was like, oh, could
Wow.
it be his agent or publicist? And no, he replied and he was like, hey, Ray, thank you so much for that. I'm glad, I could do something to help you with your career. And just simple. But he replied, man.
So lovely.
He replied. I found out he was based in Nashville.
Oh, really?
And he's doing his own thing there now.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that if you told me if you told me one artist that helped me shape my career, I would say Rick
I love
Price.
that. That's beautiful. Let's just quickly, a few things on entrepreneurship. Which matters more to you in business, timing or vision?
Vision, for sure. I think with a good vision, timing doesn't really matter because you could be the first person to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, revolutionary.
I love that. If your restaurant could tell a story in one sentence, what would it be for the Flying Squirrel?
Here's a bunch of guys who want to give you what they love and we hope you love it too.
Beautiful. It's friendship, right?
Yeah.
What's more challenging, starting a restaurant or sustaining it?
Woohoo! Sustaining it for sure.
For sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. Especially in the climate,
Yeah.
in present climate, yeah.
Yeah, very difficult. What's an underrated skill that every entrepreneur should develop?
People management.
Mm.
You really have to know who's working for you, what makes them tick, and how to play to their strengths. And it's something you'll constantly learn because everyone is different.
Yeah, I've learned that if you have someone who's really good working with you and it turns out they're not so good at this, you need to adapt. That's what I didn't do early on in my career, and because normally like you have a role, you have a job description, and if they fall outside of it, then, it's not working out. But I realized that shouldn't be the case.
No, it's very easy as a leader to say, I want everyone to adapt to my philosophy.
Yeah.
I understand that Ruben Amorim is doing the same thing at Manchester United now. But I think at the same time, he also thinks about it. How do I make this player tick or how do I make somebody else tick? It's the same, right? A football team and whatever work you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I've read Ferguson's books, I mean, that guy, I don't think he can exist today, unfortunately, but I would have loved to have been inside of the dressing room when he was kicking some of the football boots around.
Because you like pain.
I love it. I love it. And what's the biggest mindset shift that you've made since becoming an entrepreneur?
I think it's a lot of give and take. I think you have to understand that you can have your ideas. I think it's great to brainstorm ideas and it's great to not to reject ideas, but a brainstorm is really meant to throw in things that whether they're stupid or not,
Yeah,
you have to just hash them out.
play with them.
Yeah. And I think what I've learned is that, you just really got to throw in things
Yeah.
in a brainstorm and you can't censor yourself. You can't say, oh, it's a stupid idea or it's not. You just have to throw it in and see what everyone can make of it. And I think that's
I
one of
love
the things
that.
that I figured out. Yeah.
I'll take that away with me. To wrap up, you're going to play us a little bit of a song?
Hey!
Can I request it?
Oh, sure. What?
No, you play whatever you love.
Oh, wow.
Mate, this is a first for the Quintessential Question Podcast.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
need to
it
move
is.
the
I'm
mic
just
or is
gonna
it?
adjust
Yeah.
this, I'm just going to adjust it here a bit. Okay.
You got enough space, bro?
I think so. Let me. Okay. Oh, but the camera. Is there? I meant
Are we
not
good on
filming
the camera, guys? Isaac? Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Cool. You want sentimental or you want happening?
Mate, you choose. Hey? No,
Okay.
happening. Bit more happening. Go on.
A bit more happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going through your whole,
Yeah, I know
your score.
Yeah, I am going through my entire score. That would be nice and happy to do for a podcast.
I'm looking forward to this, mate.
I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown. Woo! Over observing them hypocrites. Mingle with the good people we meet. Say, good friends we've had, good friends we've lost. Yeah, along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. Come on, Paul Quinn,
Let's
what
go,
you
baby.
say? Oh, no
Woman, no cry.
no woman, no cry.
Yay.
Woo! Come here, little darling. Don't you shed no tears. No
Woman, no cry. Way, mate. No wonder you had so many girlfriends, you know, you just whip out the guitar. Ray, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for taking the time today, man. I learned a lot.
Oh, pleasure is mine, man, Paul.
appreciate
Thanks for
it,
having
brother.
this chat. I think it's a very reflective chat for me as
Yeah,
well.
I loved it. I loved it. Thank you.
All right, man.